What's going on? It's your favorite time of the week, and not just because Cody Carpentier is here. It's Prize Picks. It's Jason. It's Cody. It's myself. It's the three amigos, and we are here to talk about Texas versus San Jose State. Cody, you've had a few days to digest this game. I know you. You probably watched the film probably 5 or 6 times at this point. That's probably short. That's probably low balling it for you, Cody. Let me guess. 10 times you've watched it so far. 10.
I don't know if I really wanted to go through that one 10 times. That would have been a little bit. I mean, I've watched it a few times back, and you know, I think Alex is about to finish up in his offensive deep dig. We're going to talk about that tonight. But I think from a defensive standpoint, I think Texas played pretty good, man. I obviously everyone's snap reaction is the arch stuff, but there's a couple of those throws, not to dig into that game or anything, but it's like a couple of those opportunities that he had. It's like, let's say he completes a couple of those sidearm throws. Are people really talking about it, or are they comparing him to Patrick Mahomes and Matthew Stafford at that point?
Good point.
It's either Mahomes or Uncle Rico, right? Which end of
Right.
the,
There's no in between.
spectrum are they going to be comparing him to? Yeah. So.
Jason, was your confidence shattered, shaken after the week one of what you saw? Or you pretty much kind of staying course, and you're just going to throw that as kind of a one-off for the offense?
Definitely not shattered, but maybe a little shaken, Anwar. I mean, I don't think. I mean, you and I talked earlier this week on your show. These next 3 weeks aren't going to really prove anything, right? So, but is my confidence a little bit lower that Arch and this offense is going to perform at a high level against the Floridas and the Oklahomas and the Georgias of the world? Sure. Yeah, my confidence level came down a little bit. So, these next 3 games, starting this week with San Jose State, they're not going to show us anything, I should say, unless Arch and the offense struggles. If they struggle in any one of these next 3 games, that's a major red flag. If they go out and, race up and down the field and put up a bunch of points, you're like, okay, that's to be expected. Now do it at Florida. Now do it against Oklahoma. So definitely my confidence isn't shaken or isn't shattered, but my confidence level may be shaken just a little bit. I need to see them. I need to see them do it against a good team before I'm really going to fully buy back in to this Texas offense.
Cody, I'm kind of curious. One of my thought processes was, even though I viewed this as 3 scrimmage games before the bye week and then Florida, going into the season, I thought to myself, all right, it's probably these games, you probably get pull Arch, somewhere in the maybe at halftime, maybe in the third quarter early, and just kind of keep it going. But I'm kind of on a train of thought after what I saw this past week that he might need some reps, and pulling him early may not be the best idea. What do you think as relates to Arch, and how do you think Sark kind of approaches this upcoming weekend and maybe the following ones?
I can understand where you see that and kind of the thought process behind, like, especially coming out of that Ohio State game, like, oh, we got to get Arch, is like, 3 full quarters at minimum, and like, this game's got to be completely out of hand, and just to see it. But I think with 3 weeks and a bye before Florida, I'm not really sure how much I would lean into that, as much as I would honestly just say, like, if you get through halftime, and let's say it's 35-0, let's just say hypothetically, each of the next 3 games, 35-0 going into halftime, or 38-0 or something like this, like, I would say give them 1 drive in the third quarter, and then we'll see, like, see what Caldwell and Lacey and Owens look like. But I think from an Arch perspective, it's my biggest takeaway coming out of that game really wasn't that, like, Arch sucks or that Arch was hurt, which I've seen float around X about, his or Orange Bloods as well, where it's like people are questioning the arm angle and stuff. It's like, I'm more so looking at Matt Patricia on the other side with Ohio State, and more so looking at the sort of lack of an adjustment mid-game until it felt like the fourth quarter, when there started to be some adjustments, and Arch maybe didn't even I think Sark said it best. I can't remember if it was the post-game, if it was Monday, but he basically said, like, it took until halftime before Arch really could get a grasp on what they were doing on the defensive side of the ball. And I think that's the only defense, maybe outside of, like, even potentially a Michigan last year with, like, Wink Martindale, like some of these NFL defensive coordinators that came over and they bring an entirely different scheme that these guys haven't seen before. I think that all couples together. So I would say you're not going to see that the next 3 games. You're probably not even going to see that against anybody outside of Venables and probably Georgia. So again, it's pretty much a glorified scrimmage these next 3 weeks, but I'm not really worried about Arch.
Yeah, but Cody, let me just kind of ask you that at some point though in this season, every team that Arch plays against, they're going to disguise coverages, right? I mean, like there's not I mean, some people may be better at it than others, and I understand you're saying maybe there's levels to it, and Patricia's level might be better than somebody else's level. But when we get to Florida, when we get to Oklahoma, when you get into SEC play, all those guys, maybe not Patricia level, but they're good defensive coordinators, and they're all going to try to confuse him, right? That's kind of the blueprint, right? So when you say there's no concern about it, you just think because Patricia is on that level and everybody else really isn't, because everybody's going to try to disguise something.
For sure, 100%. You're right. Except for like I would say is that yes, Patricia is coming in with the aspect of he hasn't coached in college in 20 years, and his style historically in New England playing with like Belichick, it's always been so multiple and attacking the team's best thing, right? And what's Texas's like most known thing? It's like, all right, well, this is Arch's first game. We gotta, if you confuse this kid, he's never seen anything. He's seen Mississippi State and whoever the hell else he played last year. It's like he hasn't seen anything outside of his own defense that he's gone against every single day for the last month. So I again, people will try to do that, but I don't think that there'll be anybody running the coffee house stunts, having the personnel, having a Caleb Downs that if you go back and watch that defense multiple times, Caleb Downs is ridiculous. He's a top 3 player, maybe the number 1 player in the sport right now. And there's a half dozen to a dozen plays that he made in that game that were not on the playbook. They were not like, hey, Caleb, you're going to drive down and fill this gap. Hey, Caleb, you just get the free range and leave that route to go get this other one because you have an instinct to do this. Like there's multiple things I think that go into it with Patricia and Downs and the way they blitzed and used Arvell Reese that go into it that I don't think nobody else in the country even has that they can do roster wise.
Yeah. All right. By the way, I forgot to mention at the top of the show, but this is obviously our Prize Pick show. Play $5, get $50 instantly, and use that promo code Orange Bloods, and they will absolutely hook you up. Make sure you sign up for it now. Before we get into all the things that we may like about Prize Picks, Jason, we're going to do our predictions first, and I'll start with you. All right, it's just a matter of what your score is, right? Because you're not going to predict San Jose State. Nobody on the show is going to do that. So, Jason, I guess the question is, how do you see this game playing out, and what will be your prediction?
Well, I've got San Jose State winning, Anwar. No, just kidding. You're like, what? Well, here's the deal. So this game, like Texas can't win this game 35-10. If they do, I'm looking at this like, this is not a good sign. This is not the team we thought it would be. This, I think back to Matt Brown's days when they were just head and shoulders above teams like San Jose State, and they would beat them like 61-10 or 54-3. Okay, that if this is a legitimate national championship caliber team, this team needs to win this game in a runaway. They are, I'm showing today, 36.5-point favorites. And this isn't a terrible San Jose State team. I think the team Texas will play in the following weeks is probably worse. But this game can't even be remotely close for me if you're Steve Sarkisian. You got to blow this thing open. Cody said 35-0 at halftime. That's not out of the question. So I think Texas wins it. I think they win it going away onward. They've got to get in the mid-40s to me, maybe even push for 50. But I've written down, I got 45-10. I'm going to give San Jose State one touchdown in there somewhere. I don't know if it'll be a junk touchdown at the end of the game or maybe they get one when it actually matters. But I'm going to give them 10, which might be a bit generous. So I've got Texas 45-10. But I think it could be – I could see it make a case in my head where it's a much larger gap than that, where Texas lights up the scoreboard and pushes into the 50s. But I'll go 45-10 Texas.
45-10. Jason is on record right now. Cody, what you thinking, buddy?
Well, I think you brought up a good point. The total's 51.5 as well. So it's kind of projected around that 44-7 area, 45-7. I don't know if they score. That's my thing. I've been trying to think about that for the last couple of minutes. Like, do I think that they're going to score? And I think this Texas defense is going to be ticked off enough These two tackles are horrible. Last week against Central Michigan, they give up 9 pressures. And this offensive, the right tackle, I think had like an 18 PFF grade in pass protection. I think the defensive line is going to they're going to get their lick back. Anthony Hill, Colin Simmons going to get their lick back. I don't think they're going to give up a single point. I'm going to go 48-0 Texas.
I like the 0, Cody. I like that swag there. 0, not even 3. You just went straight 0.
Yeah, I mean, I think back to that Colorado State game last year, and I was trying to think about going into that game. I know it was week 1, and I like Torrey Horton. Braden Fowler, Nicolosi got some pub, and I remember Horton, I think, got banged up in that game, but Nicolosi had 59 yards and 1 pick in that game passing, and they ended up with total of 74 passing yards, 2 interceptions. And that was a much better offense. This one's, they got a receiver we'll talk about here in a minute with Prize Picks, but I think it's going to be a hard pressed. This quarterback had multiple picks last week against Central Michigan. If they can't beat Central Michigan, it's going to be a long day at the park.
Hey, and their kicker did go 0 for 2 on field goals, so maybe I should not give them. I got 45-10. Maybe I should have gone with 45-7.
You still got time.
Yeah, let me scribble the scratches out on my piece of paper. Let's go 45-7 on. I'm changing my pick after I kind of Cody talked me down a little bit. So, yeah.
Well, shoot. Now that you guys have done it, I'll tell you what. I had 10. I've scratched it off. I'll go with 51-3. All right. Cody, I think Cody is on point when he talks about this defense and what this defense is going to do. Turnovers, we know that's going to be a point of emphasis for them. And I can see San Jose State getting into a point. I know Sark said they're going to try to throw the ball as much as possible. They throw the ball everywhere, but you get a couple of turnovers, and at some point, you're just going to run the ball and try to get the hell out of there and get that paycheck on the way out the door. So I'm going to take 51-3 Texas, and I'm just going to give them 3 just because, and not because I believe they can score it, just because. All right, Cody, I'm going to start with you. These are some of the things they got up here on Prize Picks. Let's start with the Arch Manning plays. Is there any play in the top row? If I said, Cody, you've got to play one Arch one this week, is there one that you like the most?
If there was one Arch play, I would probably go with the touchdowns. And I wouldn't do it. That's the thing. I don't think he'll be in long enough to throw for 280 because I think they're going to want to establish the run early. I don't think he'll run himself as much as we saw last week with the 10 carries for 38 yards. That could bite me because he could take it one carry to the house. We all know that he could go 60 yards on a blink of an eye. Yeah. The rushing, receiving touchdown thing, it's a goblin. I don't really want that. So 2.5 touchdown passes, that would be the direction I would go. And saying that as much as I think they're going to run the ball, they could easily, clip one to Wingo, clip one to Moore, injuries, and he has 3 touchdowns by halftime. So that'd be the most believable one for me.
What about you, Jason? Is there one Arch? We'll expand from there. Is there one Arch play you like?
Well, like Cody said, that one, the rushing receiving touchdowns is a goblin. That one appeals to me, but you don't get the payout. I think he'll get a rushing touchdown. I'm going kind of different than Cody. I think the rushing yards 24.5. I mean, Cody mentioned he can get that in one play. Sark said on Monday, hey, maybe Arch needs to realize kind of, hey, dude, how athletic you are, how capable you are as a runner. So I don't think there'll be a lot of designed runs for Arch, but I could see him pulling it down a couple times, and it might only take a couple times to get that 24.5 rushing yards. So I would probably, if any of those plays, and those are not the plays I love the most on the Texas board by any means, but if I'm picking one Arch play, it would be the 24.5 rush yards. Take them more.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I do like that just because, like you said, it only takes one, and that's a pretty easy achievable one, and I don't really see him getting sacked. So then from everybody else, Jason, I'll stay with you. Of everything else that's on the board, what are the plays Texas-wise that you like, whether it's taking the more or the less on any of these guys?
Yeah, there are a few that I like. I mean, and Cody mentioned this one off air, but the CJ Baxter 46.5 rushing yards. I mean, he was not limited at all. He got 15 touches in week 1, 10 carries. If he gets 10 or more carries this game, which I think he will, I think he goes over that. I take the more on Baxter. I listen, man, I hate to say it, but I would take the less on Ryan Wingo, 71.5. I mean, Wingo could get that in one snap, potentially, but until I see him do it, I'm looking, this goes back to last year too, but his last 5 games, 35, 22, 33, 23, 6. Now, that's against really good competition. Let's be clear. That's Georgia, Clemson, Arizona State, and 2 games against Ohio State. But, until I see Arch and CJ Baxter, and I think it's going to happen, I feel comfortable with it. I'm not going to, put my money on it. So I'd probably take, or I said Baxter, I'm sorry, Wingo. I would probably take the Wingo less until I see it happen, until I see this Arch Wingo connection really flourish. So I'd take the Wingo less than 71.5.
Cody, let me know what you're thinking, buddy.
I think the Wingo one's interesting. Like you said though, Jason, it's a little bit high at the current stage. They targeted him 7 times last week, which was the team high. The one I would go though, outside of I'm also taking the Baxter 46.5 rushing. The other one though that kind of piques my interest is just the fact that now we kind of have a little bit of a precedent with the tight end situation, especially, I mean, going back to Jatavian Sanders, but last year with Gunnar Helm having the season that he had in that first game of the year against Colorado State, 2 for 42, Michigan, he was 7 for 98. And then you could just kind of go on throughout the rest of the years, 56, 77, 56, a lot of good games. Injuries right off the rip, gets 6 targets, 4 for 50. And, he was only targeted once in the first quarter, but when it was really needed in the fourth quarter, when they started to make that push to come back, it was Endries who was targeted a couple of times. So I'm going to go Endries 43.5 receiving more.
Yep, I agree, Cody. If there's one
that,
receiving one I would play, that would be the one.
Cody, I like that a lot. That's a good observation. Cody, sticking with you. Can I talk you into any of these devils that are on the board? Can I talk you into DeAndre Moore or Parker Livingstone? Parker, what are you thinking?
I mean, this is Alex's thing. He brought it up last week. The Parker was the most targeted, according to sources in the fall camp in the end zone, and then he comes away with a touchdown this last week, 2 end zone targets. And now you're giving me a little devil on this thing. I'll take the Parker Livingstone touchdown.
And for those who don't know, Cody, the devil pays out a little bit more. Like, can you explain that for the people at home?
The devil pays out a little bit more. So if you go on to a Prize Picks right now and you just click on the Texas Longhorns game, for example, and you have to take somebody from the opposite side. You can't just have only Longhorns. But if you do take just a normal pick, if you take just the one other pick, so let's say you take passing yards for the quarterback on the other side of the ball, and then you get Parker Livingstone, it's going to be 4x. So $20 turns into 80 with the Red Devil. And if you just take a normal carry or normal player, it's going to be 3x. So 20 turns into 60. So you get a little bit more juice taking the Red Devil there.
As of the recording part here, Cody, I'm going to stick with you, and Jason, I'm going to give you a second to get prepared here. As we get ready to wrap up, anything else you're seeing from a Prize Picks perspective, Cody, that you like? College, NFL, season-long NFL is about to is up on the board as well. We still know there's that free play there with Dak Prescott. I think he's still at 0.5 yards. So you add the Dak Prescott play. It's basically a free play, and you can combine that with other things. Anything else you've seen from a Prize Picks perspective that you like this week, Cody?
Well, I've put in quite a few, especially quite a few NFL ones over on our roster watch stuff. But in this game specifically, there's only one other one that I like, and that's Danny Scudero, the receiver for San Jose. His number's 37.5. Last week he had 189 receiving yards, 9 receptions, 8 of which went for first downs. Now I don't think he's going to go for 100 yards against Texas, but I do think he'll be targeted heavily by San Jose State. So 37, I think, is just far too light. Friday evening, we got Isaac Brown, one of the best running backs in America, playing against James Madison. He went for 152 last week, 154, somewhere around there for Louisville. His number's at 96.5. I mean, this is a guy that we should see this number eventually for the rest of the season be just north of 100. This Louisville team's pretty underrated. And then the one NFL pick I'll give is Cooper Kupp 3.5. I mean, Cooper Kupp is not the old Cooper Kupp that we remember from back in the day, but he's playing in an offense that has JSN and himself in Seattle, where these guys are going to get peppered. Both these guys play in the slot a lot, and both these guys can have 7, 8, 9 receptions in any given game. He's at 3.5 receptions right now on Prize Picks, and I think Cooper Kupp's going to get annihilated in week 1, and people are going to remember that Cooper Kupp is in Seattle, because I think a lot of people have forgot.
Wow. Well, you gave me a Louisville running back versus James Madison. I love this, man. This is Daddy's going to have some money for Christmas, kids. It's going to be all on Cody. Jason, we'll wrap it up with you. Is there anything else on the board that you like?
I'm with Cody on the Danny Scudero. I don't know anything about the guy, but I know he went for, 185 yards last week. So, like, come on, dude. You got to be able to get 37.5 because we know they're going to be throwing the ball a lot against Texas playing from behind. So
Jeremiah Smith says hello. Jeremiah Smith says hello. He's waving at you.
Wait, when did Jeremiah go for last week? Was he in the 40s, right? So right?
I think he was was he right around 40, wasn't he?
It wasn't a lot. I don't have it in front of me, but it wasn't a lot.
37.5. I don't know this dude, right? But he went for 188 or something in his first game. So I'm taking the more.
6 for 43, by the way. 6 for 43.
Okay, I'm taking the more on that. The other one I like, and I know it's a big step up in competition, but Bryce Underwood, the Michigan quarterback, he threw for 251 in his first game. And they're playing Oklahoma this week. It's going to be a much bigger test, but the odds are he's going to stay in for the entire game. So they've got him at 183.5. So I think he busts that number pretty easily. I like the Bryce Underwood more.
Cody, by the way, I'm trying to look. Speaking of the Michigan game, they got Mateer at 230.5 passing yards versus Michigan. If you had to go for more or less on that one, which one would you do?
Personally, I'm taking the more. I know you asked Cody, but he threw for almost 400 yards. I mean, again, Illinois State, I get it, but
yeah,
I feel pretty comfortable taking the more. I think Mateer's going to put up some numbers this year.
Yeah, I think he looked good. I probably would go more. I probably go more on both. I don't know. This game's interesting. I kind of hate this game if I'm just being straight honest. I don't really love it, but I do think both these quarterbacks are nice enough. I would probably have more belief in Mateer in this one.
All right. Play $5. Get $50 instantly. Use that promo code Orange Bloods for Cody, for Jason, for Alex, and everybody else. Jeff Ketchum. We'll be back next week with more Prize Pick stuff. And of course, don't forget we got the post game show. Jason, you're gonna be down at the social this weekend as well.
I will be. I'll be at TCH Social with Chad. Yep.
All right, so make sure you check that thing out. Play $5, give $50 instantly. Use that promo code Orange Bloods. You guys take care. Enjoy your Prize Picks.